It's a big beastie and I'm really happy to have it. So let's get this thing on the course. Let's just see how much this thing weighs first. 11.9 kilos. So it's not ridiculous, and you can actually carry it. Like, you can walk and carry it, but it'd be nicer not to. The body is just as much of a pain to stick on as I found the Gladiator was. It really is. Oh no, it's cracked the body. It's got a nasty big crack in there now. There's a huge crack there as well. There's a crack that goes from there to there. It's this humongous crack all the way through the Lexan. That's a huge shame. I've been really gentle with this thing. Oh well. It's a 1200 kV Spectrum system on the inside. It's good that it's brushless. Now, I've driven it once. I could hear the fans spinning down when this thing tries to steer. So clearly, whatever the BEC is, I think it might be 3 amps from memory, gives 6 volts to the radio, to the gear changing servo, and to the steering servo, and to the fans, and to the lights. And when you're steering, you hear the fan slow down a bit, which means you've got voltage trip, which the current that's being requested from the BEC is greater than the current it can provide. That runs the risk of burning out the whole ESC because they're an integrated unit. So this wouldn't be RC-TNT if we didn't do some testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this on the course stock right now, and then we're going to replace the BEC, which I don't think is actually quite up to the task, with a separate 10 amp unit I've got, and then we'll see if it does any better. So without further ado, SCX6, meet my improvised course. Let's do it. On reverse. Now we're on quite an impressive side hill here. Now, one of the rules is we're not going to move, we're not allowed off the slopes here. So I'm not allowed to come out and then back in. That's 2 reverses. Now this thing steers left just fine. Steering right is problematic, but left, no trouble at all. There we go, so that's cleared gate 2 without a problem. And time continues as we head for gate 3. Now, going to the right is obviously no good. That's the biggest throw we've got. Much better throw to the left. That's 2 reverses now. Through. We don't want to touch a gate. 3 reverses. Now, it doesn't translate on camera, but this stuff's really steep. We're going to have to touch that gate. So we've had 3 reverses and a gate touch so far. If you thought that was bad, wait till you get to this next section. Now, I'm not touching reverse here, but you can walk a rig down a hill just by steering. And we really are just on the edge of tipping at this point. So we're going to take another reverse, because what I'd like to do is get the nose pointing up the hill more. As long as we don't touch gate 3, actually we can touch gate 3 because we already touched it before, it's dead, although we didn't. The grass giving it extra traction. So we are asking quite a lot of the big SCX6 here. You can do it though. Just, oh, a tiny deformation. Now we haven't touched gate 4, that's good. Now we need to come around and get up to gate 5. We're not allowed to come down to the ground. As long as we stay on these hills, that's within the spirit of this thing. So what we need to do is come up to gate 5. We haven't done a reverse to do that either, which is good. Walked it, no worries. And then finishes here. There's the 4th reverse. Make sure we don't touch gate 4. Now this is the problem here. That's as far right as it can turn. Left, no worries. Right, no. Fifth reverse. And now we come across for a very sketchy finish. In fact, we might stay high on this. If we don't touch the gate, we're good. And these tyres at the top should hopefully, in theory, stop it from rolling. It's about to go. Oh, that's a catch. The rules are, if you need to reset, you've got to have a wheel back on the previous gate that you cleared. And it is actually very steep here, so we're asking a lot of the SCX6. So that's a reset and a gate touch and now 6 reverses. And my plan is, after we clear this, assuming we can, in fact we're going to have to come down and then turn face up I think. My plan will be to see how we can improve the steering. That's going to save us a reverse in theory. 7 reverses, and then we'll come back and do this again and see how we go for time and performance. Oh yeah, we touched it right at the end, but there we go, we're clear. This thing can't turn to the right, it can turn left, but not to the right. So now we get it on the bench. We had a time of 5 minutes 15. We had 1 reset, 7 reverses and 2 gate touches. So we'll see if we can improve this thing a little bit, and then we'll come back and try this little very tight, very steep, very challenging course again. Now remember, we had a lot of side hills like that. That took a lot to keep this thing upright. Now at this point I'll also note I've got some heavy duct tape along here. We actually had a body breakage yesterday, just an abrupt crack all the way down there, and it's a clean crack all the way through. And we had a few other breakages on this side too. I said this in the Gladiator review, I don't like these guide rails. These plastic things that Axial insists on using is, it's a pain to put together and it hurts the body. Overall, this is a nice truck with plenty of potential. So let's see if we can unlock some of that potential now. Okay, with a lot more power in the steering now, we've got the Castle 10 amp BEC in, and I've got that set to 7.2 volts, and that's only for the steering servo. So let's see what kind of difference that makes on this little course here. Let's do it. Time starts now. Through the start, and gate 1. Now remembering my rule here is we can't touch the ground. We can't touch any ground that isn't these mounds. First reverse, we had 1 reset and 7 reverses and 2 gate touches last time. Already the steering is better. Now there's no change to the geometry of this thing yet. I've still got some optimizations to make. Oh no, there is one other thing we did. I also jammed some foam down between the servo and the wheel well, which has a big brace on it. Now we still can't turn right terribly well, but we have more strength at least. That's 2 reverses. And we've missed gate 3, which was actually a struggle earlier, so that's good. Sorry about this wind noise. Now at this point I reversed last time. I think I may actually. We want it pointing more up the hill than down. Now it's turning right a lot better. Actually. Alright, that's 3 reverses we were on, but no gate touches, so we're already ahead. Coming through gate 4, lifting a wheel, which means we haven't got a lot left. It's very close to rolling actually, but I think if we stick it we'll be alright. Geez, not much in it. The other thing I noticed while going over this truck just before was the one of the rear shocks was empty. It wasn't screwed up properly, and that's why I had this sticky, really sticky residue all underneath the vehicle. We didn't touch gate 4. I think, in fact, we had 3 gate touches last time. We touched gate 3 and gate 4 and the finish. So that's 2 gates we haven't touched. There's definitely more steering authority. Now, last time I pulled this off as well, I was able to come up here without reversing at all. That's because it could already turn to the left easily. Now, this isn't entirely fair because, and we've missed it, because this stuff gets looser until I get it wet again. That's all right. We've now cleared gate 5. We've only had a few reverses. Still can't turn right terribly well, but that's all right. Now that's gate 5 done. Now we just need the finish. Yeah, steering's already maxed. We've had 4 reverses. I need to take another reverse. That's 5 reverses, but no gate touches yet and no resets. I wish I could turn further because it's going to need to. We're going to try and walk it down here. I'm just going to bring the camera. I think we might come down and then reverse ourselves up into a better position. What are we on time-wise? We're at 3:20 something. That's really good. Remember, we finished at 5:15 last time, so 4 or 5, I've lost count, but 4 or 5 reverses instead of 7, and no gate touches and no resets so far, which is brilliant. And I've got to keep it high so we don't touch that gate, which we haven't, and we've missed the other side as well, and through. So that was 1 minute and 20 faster than with stock steering. So now we've got full throw with the Castle BEC, and I've got foam stuck in between the servo and the sidewall, so the servo can't wiggle. When you steered fully to the left, the servo would kind of bend in the plastic mount. I've put some medium density foam down the side, which should retain its shape hopefully and stop this thing from moving. So we do actually have better steering authority now. With the foam and the Castle BEC, which is only powering the steering servo, we have a much better performing vehicle. I still see the panhard mount at each end, both on the axle and underneath the vehicle, kind of flexing. It still can't quite turn right. What I'd like to see next would be, I think, a slightly longer steering link. It just needs a few mil on it so that the resting servo position can be a little bit on a slightly better angle, so that when it's on full throw to the right, you get actually a full right turn. So if the servo was default at that angle instead of that angle, I'd have full throw left and right, and I think we'd have to change very little else. There are upgrades available already from various manufacturers for this thing to make it steer better. To my eye, just lengthening that steering link and changing the resting position of the steering horn should be all you need, and maybe reinforcing the panhard mounts, which do flex. Those 2 things, plus having extra power, 7.2 volts instead of 6 volts on the steering servo, which it's rated for, should be fine. Now you can see the photos I've got here where we've got the Castle BEC is not contributing voltage to any other system, and the built-in BEC is powering the rest of the truck. And I'm actually quite happy with it. It's definitely better. This is the 6th time I've done this little course with this truck now, but the first time with the BEC. It's the quickest time ever and the best score ever. We only had, I think, 5 reverses, no gate touches, no resets. That's hugely better. So next we'll do this link lengthening, and after that we'll come back and see if we need to reinforce those panhard mounts. But even just with changing that neutral position, I think we'll be on to a winner. Now, live axle rigs don't like going fast, and second gear in this thing is very slow for a course, but plenty fast for getting from A to B. Now, we lifted a wheel there and wanted to fall. You're doing something here that you wouldn't want to do in a real car, and that is keeping your diffs locked and going fast. This is not geared for speed, nor should it be, with solid live axles that are locked. That's second lap, here comes the third lap. It is very plush, it handles the air nicely. It's easy to control and I like it. clearly this is not what the SCX6 is designed for. But this is a reference. Oh, now that was the best right turn I could make, and that's 55 seconds. Being first to market with something like this big, there are some other big ones, but something this big, they can kind of name their price and a percentage of us are going to buy it. There are some design issues like this body which broke. I hadn't abused the truck, I haven't jumped it, it hasn't tumbled. There's a massive break down there on the body. I didn't abuse it, it just appeared yesterday. It may have had an imperfection in it. Can't really help those things, and I'm not going to hold it against it. The assembly wasn't great. One of the shocks was loose enough that it rattled, and it's put sticky stuff all underneath the vehicle, which I've had to deal with. The weight is acceptable, the tires are great. The steering geometry kind of sucks. Is it worth the asking price? Well, I'd say given what they had to do to bring it to us, yeah. But there are definitely some improvements. When the SCX10 first kicked the door down in the modern crawling movement, it needed a bunch of improvements too. And whether or not Traxxas or other companies come to the party with the 1/6 scale, I mean, we'll see if there's competition like there has been in the 110 scale. You need somewhere else to drive it, and I think 110 scale really hits a sweet spot for crawling, but we might have a fiddle with tuning, but overall I'm happy with it aside from steering. So we'll get into that next video. Throw me a like if you found this introduction to the SCX6 useful, and I will catch you next time on RC-TNT.